Hey guys, how you doing? Ron Zanette here. Well, today I've got a new review for you. This is of the Reeven 4Eyes Touch Fan Controller. Now, you may have seen my previous review of the Reeven 4Eyes controller, but that one was not a touch display. That was your standard display, but it was very unique and performed very well. I like that fan controller very much. So we're going to go ahead and try this new one that our friends at Performance PCs has provided to me so that I can test it and review it and bring it to you guys. So let's go ahead and have a close-up look at it, and then we'll test it out and see how well it performs. Well, let's have a look at the Reeven 4Eyes Touch Fan Controller box. Packaging just shows a picture of the controller along with an indicator showing that it's a touch panel, supports 4 channels, has 7 LCD colors, runs at 2.5 amps with 30 watts per channel. It does support PWM and 3-pin fans. On the edge we have picture showing where the temperature can be displayed, the fan speed, whether it's Celsius or Fahrenheit, and mute capability for, I guess, some audio on there, the speaker. Also a settings bar, and then color shift and reset indications. And then you see the various colors, and I'll actually show you that in detail when we test the fan out. Again, just some of the same things that were in the front, all the different languages that the instructions would support, and also what's listed inside of the packaging. We'll see that. And then on the back here, again, we have some caution information and some basic information on the controller. So now let's take a look. Take a look and see inside what's in the packaging. Alright, we have an instruction manual or card. We have temperature sensors. Looks like we have at least 4 temp sensors right here, sleeved, and we'll take a closer look at those. And we also have 4 cable adapters that support both 3-pin or 4-pin. Right here. These are 3-pin fan adapter cables, basically a 3 to 4-pin fan adapter cable. You can see. And then we have some tape for mounting taping the thermal sensors down. And then the Reeven controller itself. Alright, so let me get this unpackaged and we'll have a closer look at these. Here's a shot of the instruction sheet. Looks pretty straightforward. Shows you all your contents and connections and operation using the touch panel for it. And it does squeeze in 1, 2, 3. It looks like 6 different languages on this sheet. So they did. Looks like they did a good job of capturing most of the key things. Well, we'll find out as I go through and operate it myself. And we have here the fan cables. So these are 3 to 4-pin fan cable adapters. And these cable adapters are 28 inches long. And they are sleeved. However, you can see the wire color coding from through it. So one end has the 3-pin connection with a 4-pin fan header down to the 3. And I like that they do this with the 6Eyes controller that I reviewed. They did have 6 of these, and they have them all labeled for you. 1 through 4, so you know exactly what you're connecting into when you're running them in your system. I love they give you plenty of length. That's great. So you can get them in and run them in even some big cases. And then we have 4 temperature sensors. And we'll see. Give us a bundle of temp sensors. So we have 4 of these as well, and they too are 28 inches long. And I just pulled this one off, but they're protected. So they give you some tubing that covers the sensor to protect it. Now you can, using the tape they provided, you can use these to tape them down to various points in your case or have them suspended in your case. I like to put one by the ambient and other ones taped to various pieces in my system. So they give you plenty of temp sensors, and they also do a nice job here. They label them as well, and they label them on the one that's going to be connected to the controller. And the other end, they don't. That one you'll have to trace down yourself, but that's awesome that they do that. Alright, so we have cables, tape. Now for the controller itself, see if we can get a little bit close-up look at it. It's all nice, solid construction. Molded front panel piece with plastic on the side here for your mounting. You have a display panel in the back and a PCB, the controller PCB itself, with a cable providing power and data to the display. And here we have these are the temperature connections here, the 4 that you're going to connect up your temperature probes to. Here you have a jumper for indication whether you want audio or not on your speaker to come out. And then we have the 4 fan connections here to allow you to connect up the extension cables for your fans or connect directly to the fans here. And then looks like power is going to be provided with not your traditional 4-pin Molex, but it's going to be using a SATA power cable. So that's exactly what we have there. So there are multiple colors, 7 display colors on here, and we're going to check those out now with the operation of the fan controller. So let's get it connected up in a system and see how well it operates. Alright, here we have the Reeven 4 Eyes touch controller all powered up. There are 3 fans connected. The ports 1, 2, and 3 have a couple of these 3 EK Vardar F2 1450 fans, and as you can see on the display, they're running at one's running at about 1500, 1470, others are right around the 1450 mark. The fourth one I don't have a fan on. We also have temperature probes on there as well. Now before I show you how to operate the controller, let me show you the connections that were made to it. So the connections to the 4 Eyes touch controller, you have your power connector right here. Now remember, SATA power connectors are keyed, and the little key notch is up to this side facing up. So when you put your power connector on, you want to make sure that you don't have a cable that's very stiff, because if you notice, the end of the tray that the PCB mounts to is right there, and there is some room for the cable to come out, but if you have a very stiff power cable, you might have trouble getting the connector on there, and it might actually bend the connector up a little bit. But that connector is flexible and it will move a little bit, so just to be aware of that. Then we have the 4 temperature sensors right there. The board PCB is marked T1 through T4, and then your temperature probes have markings on them as well. And then there's a little jumper right here to permanently mute the speaker. So if you pull that off, then you won't get any sounds at all from the speaker, which is right here. And however, there is a control on the touch panel that allows you to mute the alarm for any particular alarm. But if you wanted it permanently muted, you can remove that jumper right there. Then we have the 4 fan connections, and they're also labeled on the PCB. You kind of have them upside down the way I have the camera, but that's fan 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm using all the cables and the probes that came with the controller. So we're going to check out and see how it works. All right, and I have fan number 1 is this Vardar, EK Vardar fan number 2, and fan number 3. So when we do some controls on it, you'll see those get adjusted. And then the temperature probes, I have number 3 or number 4 right out here. I have a couple just stuffed in here, and then I have one loose that I will put some heat to so you can see the temperature reading go up on the controller. So let me get this situated back on the tripod and we'll step through the controls. Okay, first thing I think I'll do is show you how to use the touch display. And basically each of this is 4 fan controller, 4 ports. So each one of them is separated into their own little touch panel. So here you have controls for fan 1. It controls both the temperature setting, alarm, and also the speed of the fan. So it's the same for these 4. So if you want to change the speed of the fan, and I'll start with number 2, it's the center fan right here. What you do is you touch the display and you get this bar. And then by dragging your finger on this bar, you can adjust the speed of the fan. So you should see the fan, actually I'll bring it all the way off. Fan number 2 will now go down to 0 RPM. And you can see that. And to bring it back up, you just slide your finger. And you have it. Right now it's at about halfway, looks like. So that would be somewhere around 750 RPM roughly. Should be. I can bring it down a little bit more. Alright, and so that's what fan number 2 is running at. Now if you want to control, we'll bring him all the way back up to 100 and we'll touch it again and the fan is locked in there. Now what we're gonna do is change the temperature. So you would hold the controller down for like 3 seconds, and you'll notice right now that the temperature reading is flashing, and that indicates when the alarm would go off for this fan. So again, just by sliding your finger, you can adjust it to go off at, say, 60 degrees. 63 degrees is when the alarm will go off when the temperature crosses that. So let's get it back. Alright, so the temperature right now through this probe right here is 23 degrees. I'm going to put a heat gun on it right here. I have a Wagner heat gun, and we'll see the temperature rise, and once it hits 63 we should get an alarm. Here we go. Drop back down and get a little more heat on it again, and it went back up. So the alarm and the temperature sensing works just fine. In order to change the colors, you just tap this color or color reset. Now if you just touch it, it'll cycle through 7 colors each time you touch it. If you hold it for 5 seconds, it'll reset everything back to defaults, which means it'll change the the RPMs back to 100% and all the temperature settings to, I think, 70 degrees is the default. Let's see if you can see these better now. So I'm just gonna, first one, that was light blue. This is like an aqua kind of blue. And we have a green, apple kind of green. And we have a dark green. And we have violet or purple. And we have a dark blue. And we have red. And we have complete black, no display at all. And then we have back to the original. Now remember, you hold 3 seconds to change the temperature setting. I'm going to go now and hold the reset button here for 5 seconds and see if everything gets reset completely. There you go. That's a complete reset of the controller. And so now when I hold this down for 3 seconds, I should see, I think 70 is the default. Yes, so it is. All right. And then you hold it for a few seconds to hear the beep, and everything's locked back in. So let's see how the fan failure alarm works right now. I'm going to pull fan number 2 power out. So I'll disconnect fan number 2, see if we get an alarm. Oh, we're on fan number 3. And there we have the alarm. Then when I press the mute button, it turns the alarm off. I think that's it. That's how you connect it, and that's how it operates. And I'll be back with a quick conclusion. So there you have it, guys. That's the Reeven 4-Eyes Touch fan controller. I thought performance-wise, it's a basic fan controller that has the nice touch features, and it does what it says it needs to. It's going to set your fan RPM speed by simply touching the particular channel on the display and then sliding the slider with your finger in order to adjust the fan speed. So that was straightforward to work well. The options it gives you really is to mute the whole thing, so by pulling that jumper off, and the colors. You have those 7 different colors that you can cycle through, and I think you know, there's probably a color in there for everybody. I particularly like just this basic, you know, I guess it's white on black, and even the blue, but red on black. I mean, I'm sure you'd find a color that would work for you in any scheme. Connections were straightforward. Cables they provided, the temperature cables and the fan cables, they were all marked, which is great. I love that they did that. And the cables are long enough. They're about 28 inches long on those, so even putting this inside of a big rig, you know, and dressing the cables, it gives you plenty of length to work with. The only things that nitpick things that I didn't like about the controller really was the fan, not the fan, the sleeving on the cables. You can see through the cables, so I would have preferred, you know, sleeving that's a little thicker or darker, that you don't see the color strands of the wire shielding underneath. But that's a bit nitpicky. And then the other thing that I just noticed, not really a problem, is when you push on the SATA power connector, you just got to be careful, make sure that your power cable is not too stiff, because you probably could bend the onboard connector up. Although the onboard connector is flexible, I did move it up some and it didn't break and it didn't stress it in any way. But that's just something to be aware of. So again, fan controller, good basic controller. Price-wise, it's $50, so that's a reasonable price for a touch fan controller. And very simple, especially with all the cables and everything they provide for you to mount it in your system. I think that's a good deal. So overall, I give this 4 out of 5 nuts. So if you're looking for a good basic fan controller with some cool LCD touchscreen capabilities and options for colors that'll help match your particular rig, well, this could be the fan controller for you. So I'd like to thank Performance PCs for sponsoring this controller so I can bring it to you. And if you like this video, please like and favorite. And if you're so inclined, please subscribe. That's it from Ron's and Nut. Thanks for watching.